Hi everyone, it's Nick. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, in this video today, we are going to be talking about 5 of the stupidest interior design trends of all time. There's a lot of dumb interior design trends, but you know, we still love them, don't we? We just love talking about design because that's what we do here on the Nick Lewis channel. We sit here on a Saturday morning and we just chat about design, and there's a lot of stupid things that come and go, but I thought, why not? Maybe this is a series, maybe this is a one-off, but these are 5 really stupid trends that I think are worth talking about so that we cannot repeat the sins of yesterday and we can move forward and maybe make better decisions for tomorrow. That's the goal anyway, so let's get to it. Okay, but before I get to 5 interior design trends that are really stupid, I want to thank today's sponsor, which is going to be Delete Me. Now here's the thing. I have a confession, you guys. I totally got scammed out of $5,000 and I only recently got it back, and it's because I didn't protect my online data. Basically, I had a series of phone calls where people got my number and the name of my business, the business that's attached to this YouTube channel, and they were able to figure out some data and called me up and managed to convince me through a series of very clever tricks that I now look back on and don't even know how I was so stupid. And essentially, I gave information that I really shouldn't have, thinking that they were the bank. And they were not. It took 6 months for me to essentially get that $5,000 back. So I now know full well the power of making sure to secure your online data. Delete Me, what it does is it is a dashboard where they go out to different data brokers that are out there in the world that are gathering all of your information and selling it to other people. They go to these data brokers on a continual basis and tells them to take away my data, your data from these different brokers to secure your online data in the future. So if you want to click on the link in the description, Delete Me is a resource that I really strongly think you should consider and take a look at. Thank you so much for Delete Me for sponsoring this video. Now, please secure your data and let's get back to those 5 interior design trends that are incredibly stupid. Okay, and then first on my list, and by the way, before you get into it, please note there are holes in my ceiling behind me. Do you remember, if you've been here from the channel for a long time, I had a flood when I first started my YouTube channel. I had to like move into a place for like 4 months to a like really not great basement suite, which I hated. You can still see me in some of my videos, the early ones, which my favorite comment to this day of all time is when someone said, why do I listen to interior design advice from this guy when he clearly lives in a Holiday Inn? Which is still, if you're gonna make fun of me, which I love like, make it clever. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're just gonna be homophobic, it's boring. It's like, pff, whatever. But like, hurt it all. But like, if you're gonna be funny, like be clever. And that's clever. So I really enjoyed that comment. Anyway, I had to move out because I had a flood in my apartment because they were doing all the pipes. Well, guess what? I'm moving out next week and they finally decided to fix the pipes in the building. Wouldn't you know it? Didn't fix it for 3 years, but here we are. Anyway, yeah, so there's that. First thing on my list though, of stupid interior design trends of all time, waterbeds. So I wanted to revisit waterbeds because rarely, like, people are allowed, I love a dissenting opinion. I love when people are just like, Nick, I disagree with what you said in this video. That's fine. People all the time are saying, I kind of like this guy sort of, but I don't agree with everything he says. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to agree with everything I say. You're wrong, but you don't have to. But I did a generational design video where I talked about how Gen Xers buy waterbeds. Whoa, they were like, boomers bought the waterbeds, we didn't buy them. Listen, there were a few Gen Xers that bought some waterbeds. I do admit a lot of them were boomers, but there was a lot of Gen Xers that still bought waterbeds, okay? My sisters had waterbeds, they were clearly Gen X. You're teenagers at the time, I'm just saying a lot of y'all bought waterbeds. I know you like to deny it, you like to blame it on the boomers because we like to blame the boomers for everything, but they're not the source of everything. Sometimes, a few Gen Xers bought some waterbeds, so I stand by my decision. Anyway, waterbeds are really stupid. Waterbeds are stupid for lots and lots of reasons. They're horribly uncomfortable. They're loud, like when you're on them, like they're swishy and swashy, and therefore not really great to go to sleep. Maybe it's nurturing. Maybe it's like a white noise thing. You know how people have like beluga whales in the background while they're sleeping? Maybe it's like the sloshing actually puts you to sleep. I don't think so, but it's a possibility. Maybe that's how they sell them. I don't know. Waterbeds were huge in like the 80s and even into the 90s, Gen Xers, they were still popular. Right? People had a lot of waterbeds and they were super popular. They're horribly impractical. As I said, they slosh around, they don't make sense for much of anything, and they seem really like difficult to fill. They're difficult to fill up. They're difficult if you move. You have to like, now you got a giant amount of water you gotta get and you gotta pump that thing out. I don't know how you do it. It's like those 90s entertainment centers. To this day, I don't know how you got them out of your house. You know what I mean? They don't fit through the doorway. I don't know how you dismantle these things. I don't know where they all went because I don't think anybody has a waterbed. Like if you told me that the waterbeds that still were in circulation was in like single digits, I might believe you. Do you know what I mean? Like no one has these anymore. Where do they all go? Unfortunately, probably the landfill. And that is why they made this list. These are not a great trend. They never were, and they hopefully hopefully will never come back, even though I'm sure the Gen Zs will bring them back like they do everything. But for now, they're dead, okay? So we're done with the waterbeds, and they were really stupid and horribly impractical, and I'm glad they're dead and gone. Okay, next up on my list of stupidest interior design trends of all time. Now this one might hit close to home. So I know you probably don't have a waterbed, but some of you might have this still kicking around, and that is really bright accent walls. Okay, so accent walls, okay, we're still doing them. I feel like the bright accent wall was changed and now has moved into being the geometric accent wall, which I have not been a fan of for a while. I've made fun of them on this channel before, and I know some of you have them, and I feel so bad because you worked so hard. You went down to the Home Depot, as I said before, and you got the plywood and you sat there, and your husband got out the little miter saw, and you nailed it on that wall. You sketched out on a piece of paper, and now you got a jerk like me on the internet telling me that they were really stupid. But they were, and it was a mistake, and I get it. We all make mistakes. Even I have been known to make a mistake or two. And so, you know, these are not great, and they were never great, but the bright accent wall is the original sin. That's the original, that's the older sister. And this was, you know who I blame? I blame HGTV, because they managed to convince an entire generation of middle-class suburbanites to pick a random wall in their house and paint it bright pink or orange or yellow or maybe even lime green. Do you know what I mean? And here's the thing. If you're going to paint a wall something different, or you're going to draw attention to it and some sort of make it a focal point in the room, it needs to be intentional. There needs to be a reason behind it. Could be something like maybe you've got a bed and you want to put something behind the bed, right? Because that's the focal point for the bedroom. Or maybe you've got a fireplace and you want to make the focal point that wall. You want to create these focal points in your room because when you walk in, it draws the eye right into that area, and so you build the room around it. That's a good thing. But these are rarely that intentional. They're really just sort of spin the bottle, and wherever it lands, you just go, yep, that's gonna be my hot pink accent wall, you know? And that's what I have the problem with. It's the randomness of it all that I think is a little bit weird. Now, I specifically said bright accent wall because this is very 90s, early 2000s. It's always a really, really, really bright paint. I don't know who's behind this. Was it a Benjamin Moore conspiracy theory or Behr Paint, where they decided the paint cartels got together and thought, you know what, we're just selling white, gray, and beige. Maybe we need to sell some of these lime green paints that no one buys. And they were like, let's contact HGTV and let's like get these things rolling. Maybe, I don't know who to blame. Maybe it's what's her name from Trading Spaces, Hildy. Maybe we can blame her. Okay, next up on my list is going to be stencil quotes on walls. So many times I have talked about the farmhouse signs, and you're sick of it. You're sick of talking about it. I'm sick of talking about it. But however, they're still everywhere in the world, which means I have to keep talking about them. So I'm not pleased about that either. But you know what I talk about less, and you know what we don't draw enough attention to, and I know some of you have some of these, okay, is the stencils. The stencils, they're always this vinyl stencil, and they're always, say, like friendship in a very curvy font. And I know the font, okay, we all get it from Canva. It's called Playlist. Go look it up. That's the font. They love to use that font in all these signs. And they're vinyl stickers that are really glossy, and then you just stick them on the wall, and you do that in your laundry room. They're usually very inspirational, and that's kind of their sole purpose. And I think these are a mistake, because not only are they cheesy and overdone, they're also like semi-permanent. Like, at least a sign, you can put that up and then take a look back and go, I made an error, and hold on to that home goods receipt and maybe just take it back, and then take it back where it belongs, give it back there, and then move on with your life because you made a good decision, and now you can move forward from it and you've learned. But the stencil, now you're stuck with it. And removing those stencils is like really annoying and painstaking, and probably gonna you're gonna probably have to repaint. Like, it's gonna rip off some of your drywall or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not really that removable friendly. These are not really your stencil and stick situations. You're gonna have to take them off. And some of the paint's coming with it. And I think that that's what makes them really irritating. You're not gonna paint over it because, again, it's vinyl. That's not happening. Yeah, these are quite irritating and probably need to go. Okay, next up on my list is gonna be round beds. So, no, that's not how humans really are, like, really sort of shaped, and so therefore it's impractical and doesn't make sense at all. Round things are great for some reasons, okay? So a round coffee table or a dining table, I sometimes prefer over a square or rectangle. And the reason for that is largely because for circulation, right? So it's sometimes, if you're dealing with a really small space and it's kind of difficult to get around, a round table can sort of soften the edges and therefore make it really easy for circulation. So maybe if you have a smaller coffee table in the middle and you don't want those sharp edges, a curved one just gives you that little bit of extra space so that people are able to sort of navigate and circulate. You can see, by the way, by my dining table back there, I think a rectangle one wouldn't have worked as well. The sharp corners wouldn't have made sense considering it's kind of a little bit almost into a hallway, right? So it can be really great for circulation. Love round objects. The exception is the bed. The bed never makes sense, okay? Unless you're Austin Powers, then you're the only person that is allowed a round bed. Everybody else is just not allowed one anymore. These were really popular in the 70s, I guess. There was a lot of weird things that were happening in the 70s. And these were not a good trend because it never makes sense because that's not how humans sleep. That's the real answer there. So that's why it doesn't make sense. If you are a couple and you have one of these, that's not good. That's not a good idea. And if you're a single person, well, I hope you enjoy staying single because no one's joining you in that bed because it's stupidly circular. So don't do that. Okay, and then next up on my list is going to be inflatable furniture. Oh, this one. This one keeps coming back. Is it cheap? Some of these are not cheap. Some of these are designer-y, and I'm like, workshop that again because that's not a good one. Inflatable furniture is not structured. Air isn't a great way to fill furniture, right? Like there are other materials that make more sense, like different, foam and that are better suited to actually for sitting on, right? Like upholstery is great. And there are things that you can construct a sofa or a side chair out of that are not inflatable, that are gonna be much better choices than this. These are like, at best, pool floaty devices, and at worst, some sort of super designer piece that is very, very expensive and stupidly so and doesn't even make sense. And they're just horribly uncomfortable and impractical. And then, you know what, they're just gonna pop one day. I mean, horrible to get in and out of, squeaky as hell. Do I need to go on? I mean, just uncomfortable. Again, you're just sitting on an air mattress. Why would you sit on an air mattress unless you have to? I don't even like camping because I don't wanna sit on an air mattress. Camping sucks. Humans spend a long time, thousands and thousands of years trying to get indoors. Why would I want to go outdoors and sit on an air mattress? And then worse, why would I take my indoors that I've worked really hard for, that I quite enjoy, by the way, and then bring in like camping equipment, essentially, or pool equipment, or the floaties into my own home and pretend like it's a style? This is one of the worst. This is one of the worst trends ever. Does not make for indoor. Does not make sense for indoor. Does not make sense for outdoor. You might be like, but what if you're a teenager? Listen, I don't like teenagers, but I give them a lot of grace when it comes to choosing weird interior design things because we're learning and we're stupid and we're 15 and we don't know what we're doing. And that makes sense. I was stupid too. Do you know what I mean? I had black light bulbs in my bedroom because it was the 90s and we didn't know anything and we got them from Hot Topic, right? Like who knew? We didn't know. We were 15. We were stupid. So I give a lot of grace to teenagers, but this one I draw the line. This one I draw the line and just say, so if you have a teenager and they're like, I want to get an inflatable thing, be like, no, I'm going to show you Nick Lewis and we're going to have to correct that. But you know, there's other stupid things you can do. There's lots of things. I'm sure there's scroll on TikTok finding all sorts of crap. This one isn't it though. So let's stop the designer versions. Let's stop the teenage versions, just all around. And furniture should not be made of air. How about we just say that? Stop there. No air, no plastic. So that's it for me for today, you guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Is this a series? I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, like I put topics on these videos, but really this just should be called 5 Things Nick Hates This Week. And that's generally my channel. So if you like that, feel free to subscribe. But till then, I'll see you on the next video. Thanks, bye.